All right, guys, let's go ahead and lie down and we'll get started in Supta Baddha Konasana. Supta supine, Baddha bound. So feet together, knees will drop open at an angle. And then hands wherever is comfortable for you. Just kind of ease in here and take a full breath in through your nose. And as you hold your breath, see if you can kind of open up the sides of your body a little bit, feeling expansion laterally. And then let it go. And then do that again. So in through the nose, big full inhalation. Out through the sides, fill up your back body too. And then release through your mouth. And then one more time, just big full inhalation, kind of setting the tone for practice. And releasing. Good. And establish a rhythm to your breaths. In through the nose, inward flow. And out through the nose, outward flow. Good. And then go ahead and hug the knees into your chest. Continue your rhythmic breathing. Good. And then go ahead and keep the right knee into your chest. Extend your left leg straight forward. Really hug the knee in close towards you. And make your left leg really straight. So one knee is obviously bent and the other one's obviously straight. And then lift your forehead up to your knee and take the hands behind your head. You can interlace the fingers if you'd like. Lift your chest a little taller. All right, so you can even rest your head a little back into your hands to lift more up with your chest. So you're considering the length of your spine here, not just the rounding. And then lifting your right leg straight up. You can flex through your heel. And then reach your arms forward a little bit up, so framing your knee. And just see if you can reach a little bit further out. Good. And then go ahead and hold the back of your right leg with your hands. Rest your head and shoulders onto the ground. Point your toes, at least your right toes. You can circle it a few times if you'd like. Nice. And then, start to pull the leg a little towards you, but also see if it feels a bit like you're pressing it away from you. A bit of contraction on the back of the leg. A bit of effort there. Good. And then bend your right knee, pull it back into your chest. Hold the outer edge of your right foot with your right hand and take happy baby pose. And again, start with a really straight left leg. So one leg's obviously straight and one's obviously bent. But then start to bend your left knee too. Slide the left foot towards you so the foot will be flat on the ground. Notice if that feels any different. And then cross your right ankle over your left knee. The pigeon on your back. So you can thread through the needle, the eye of the needle with your right hand. Reach around your left leg with your left hand and grab your left leg. Good. And then see if you can create a little more space from the front of your right thigh and your waistline. Your belly pulls in a little bit. Push forward with your knee. And then keep that shape with your legs. Just open your arms for a moment. You could cactus them or just open like a T. And then let your lower body drift off to the left until your right foot touches the wood floor. And then once that happens, take your left hand and pry the right thigh away from you. Press it to the front of the room. So that, again, that skin right on the top of your thigh and your belly get further apart. And feel an obvious rotation of your spine. And then let's come back into center. And hug the knees back in towards your chest. We'll keep the left knee in this time, extending the right leg straight forward. And just pull the knee really tightly in. Feel one leg obviously straight. And then we'll curl the nose up towards the left knee and take the hands behind the head. Interlace the fingers. Yeah, so when your right leg's really straight, like the quadricep will lift a little bit, kneecap will lift, makes the leg lighter. And then lift your left leg straight up. See if you can get that leg to feel lighter. And reach your arms in front of you. A couple last breaths. Nice. Go ahead and hold the back of your left leg. Rest your head and shoulders to the ground. Point your left toes, especially if you haven't already. Maybe circle the ankle a few times. So yeah, if you struggle to even straighten your leg, you're probably not going to have to push the leg into your hands much. But if you're very flexible, the leg probably straightens easily. In that case, you don't want to pull the leg towards you. This isn't a flexibility class. This is more of a stability class, mental stability as well as physical. So you got to contract the leg to create that stability. And bend your left knee. Take the happy baby first with a straight right leg. You even push your right heel down. It may not be straight because you push the heel down. There might be a little bend in the knee. Good, and then continue to bend your right knee until the right foot's flat on the ground, sliding it towards you. And just take a couple breaths to feel the pulley system that is your body, especially when it comes to your hips. We've got all this tension in the pelvis and the different regions of the hips. So when we bend one knee or straighten, it affects the intensity, or maybe even what antagonist or protagonist muscle group we're working on. So taking the thread the needle next, cross your left ankle over your right knee and hold the right leg. And honestly, all this anatomical information isn't even that important. What's important is that you just pay attention. And the more I say things like this, it tends to grab your attention. So again, keep your ankles flexed, but open your arms for a moment. Let your legs drift off to the right, so the sole of your left foot touches the ground. And then take your right hand and press the top thigh away from you to the front of the room. You're still going to get that twist that some of you are trying to pull the knee towards you. Press it away from you. Try to create a little more space in the front of your left hip flexor. Good, and then let's come back into the center. Bring the knees in together. And reach your legs straight up. Let's take the hands right behind the head again. Lift the head and shoulders a little higher. And let's press the feet together. Inner thighs are rolling forward a bit. It's like a big tree trunk. Both legs combine as one. And then lower both legs just a little bit. And if that's a lot, just bend your knees. And then lower a little bit more. If you can go halfway, just go halfway. Lift your legs all the way up. And then do that again. Inhale, lower about halfway. And exhale, lift back up. Inhale again, lower. And exhale, lift. Just a few more times on your own. Just a little warm up here. So a lot of times we'll teach you to flatten your back here on the ground. See if you can maintain the arch of your spine, the natural arch of your spine. So maybe there is a little bit of a curve down there, but not an exaggerated curve. Good, just a couple more because I don't want you to lose interest. So on this last one, reach your legs up, reach your arms up. And what we'll do is you want to reach your arms as high as you can reach your arms, head as well. Keep that the same, but then start to lower your legs. We're going to hold this for about 7. 6, you can lower them as much as you want, maybe just 2 inches. 5, you could reach your arms back. 4, 3, you're going to shake a little bit. 2, and in 1, hug the knees into your chest. Take a brief happy baby just to feel the hips together, and if one has more mobility or stickier, smoother, all that stuff, checking in. Very nice. And then release your feet. You can rock and roll back and forth a few times, or you can roll over to one side if that feels more convenient for you. In that case, you'll press up. And let's meet in a squat, yogi squat. Just want to make sure the feet look even. When they turn out a little bit, one side might tend to turn out a little more than the other. And you're always welcome to sit on a block or sit on something that elevates your hips. Otherwise, withdraw your eyes for a moment. That way all the other senses can start to sharpen. And even though we usually practice with our eyes open, we'll try to keep some sense of sensitivity to not depending on the eyes, the visual sense quite as much today. Let's take a full breath in and a full breath out. And then forward fold, hands to the ground. Turn your feet into parallel. Let's have the feet about hips distance if they're not. Narrow your feet. That's about 3 fists or so between your feet for most people. You can hold your elbows and dangle free. Yeah, put a softness in the knees here, but a firmness on the inner thighs. I'm going to roll them back a little bit. And then change the cross of your arms so the opposite arm shifts in front. Yeah, and just bring attention. Some of you guys have a tendency to have a lot of fidgety stuff going on. Just bring attention to that. Some of you are really still. It's all good. Just want you to bring attention to those things. And then release your hands down, stepping the left foot to the back of your mat. Good, so lower the left knee down, real simple. Just scoot it back a 1/2 inch and raise your arms up and over your head. And we'll hook the thumbs. So let's hook the thumbs and start to lean to the right. So you're pulling on that left thumb a little bit more. You're not trying to cinch the waist. You're trying to keep it pretty long here, even though you're in a bend. You feel the left tricep and serratus roll down, but your left ribs roll open. Good. And then let's come back to center and look in the direction of up. Doesn't have to be straight up, but just in the direction, which will help you to lean back a little bit and open the front of your body. You can feel just a micro tilt of your pelvis down. Good, and we'll take one more breath. And then release your hands down and tuck your back toes under and lift your back knee up. So you're in this runner's lunge, which we do all the time. Now start to bend your left knee a little bit. Let's say not all the way, but let's bend it about halfway to the floor. And then straighten your right leg slowly, keeping the left knee bent. Yeah, kind of weird at first, I know. Nice. Now switch the knee that's bent. Bend your right knee and straighten your left leg all the way. And then do that again. Bend your left knee to straighten your right leg. Again, inhale, bend your right one, straighten your left one. And then exhale, switch. 2 more times. Inhale, bend. And exhale, switch the bend. And then this time, bend and hold it. Reach your arms straight back. So you're in a runner's lunge with an obvious knee that's bent and an obvious leg that's straight. And you're grounding through the foundation of this building. Good. Now, as you bend your back knee, reach up this time. So you're in a crescent pose. Now, a little bend in your back knee could be a big bend. Let's actually exaggerate the bend in the back knee a little bit more, as if you're like doing those lunges at the gym. There we go. Yeah, really bend it, like it's maybe 6 inches above the floor. Now we'll take an inhale. Now lean forward, reach your arms behind you, and straighten your back leg all the way again. And then try that again. Bend your back knee to come all the way up. And then exhale, lean forward and straighten your back leg all the way. Then one more time, we'll stay up this time, crescent pose. Now this time you might hook the thumbs or connect your hands. You might straighten your back leg if it feels good. And then let's take one more big breath. Releasing the hands down, coming into your first plank position. Step your right foot back. Nice open fingers, gripping a little bit. Start to press forward and back with your heels a few times. It's not dramatic. It's very subtle. You're just going to move a few inches forward, a few inches back. The tops of your thighs are going to turn on. Some of you are going to try to pull it back to down dog, but that's not what I want. It's a plank the whole time. Your chest is pulling forward. Now, once you find more of a neutral plank, lift your right foot just a little bit off the ground. Now, that's personal. If you don't want to do that, just skip that part. And then see if you can bend your left knee just a little bit. Your left knee, right leg really straight. Good. Now bring the right knee to your nose and straighten that left leg all the way. Bring the right knee to your right elbow. Now we're going to step on the wood floor on the outside of the right hand, just barely on the wood. Yeah, and pivot your right foot out to the right a little bit. Go ahead and drop your left knee down and lift your chest. Come up to your fingertips. Good, and then tuck your back toes and lift your back knee off the ground. See if you can walk your hands out in front of you a little bit. Some of you will bring them onto the wood floor, kind of like a down dog feeling in the arms, and the head hangs. And if you know your body really well and the forearms can come down here, you're welcome to put the forearms down. And we're looking for that inner right thigh to open. So you could roll onto the outer edge of your right thigh or your right foot here if you want. Nice, and then we'll meet in a forearm plank. So stepping your right foot back, lowering the elbows down if they're not already. And again, today we're working a little bit on lengthening muscles while we're contracting. Plank is the best way to do it. Lift your butt up really high, round your spine. So keeping that crunching feeling in your core, start to lengthen your spine. So your butt's going to lower, your shoulders are going to draw back, the two sides of your neck will feel long. But then lift again, lift your butt really high. Good, again, inhale, lower your hips in line with your shoulders. Exhale, lift your butt. And then this one, do the same thing, but lower your hips all the way down to the floor. And untuck your toes. Just a little bit of a sphinx pose here. Elbows are down, hands are spread. And release your head down to the floor. And take the hands behind you, interlace the fingers, and pull the knuckles towards the back of the room. Start with the feet down. So you're just lifting your chest. Your head will lift because your chest is up. And you're trying to press your pubic bone down a bit. And the feeling, if you're not sure what that feels like, you'll feel a little lift of your belly. It might not lift off the floor, but it'll feel energetically lifted. And then add your legs, keeping the pubic bone down. Good, so nice. And then we're going to open the arms out to the side. So we cactus the arms here. Bend your elbows. So this is where you're in a little more of a back bend. Your hands can try to lift a little higher than your elbows. So elbows down, hands up. And give it one more breath here. And then release all the way down. Take a child's pose, hips to heels. Soften your forehead down. It's kind of like you're just putting yourself in time out. It's like we were kids again. That's how we have to treat ourselves in this practice, just like you're a child. Couple timeouts. You start to get carried away. Well, let's come up to hands and knees. And then cat-cow the spine as you inhale. Lift your chest and stick your butt out a little bit. And then exhale, round your spine and tuck your tail. And then again, inhale, lift your heart, collar spreads. Do this a few times at your own cadence. Even when you round the spine, can you feel a broadening of your collar? Yeah, you can flirt with little bends of the elbows and things we've worked on in previous classes. Good. Now on this one, go ahead and lift your knees a little bit off the ground. You can do this with whatever feet you want, tops of your feet or tucked toes. Just a little bit off the ground. Good. And then step your feet back to plank position. Good. This time put a little bend in your elbows, right? Just a little one, like you're introducing chaturanga. And then press up, first down dog. Lift your hips high, heels low. Head hangs. Let's try this. Bend your knees and try to get your ribs closer to your thighs. So you can bend them a lot to get that feeling. And then go for that back bend aspect of down dog. So lift your butt up really high. It really helps with the knees bent here, so don't be shy. Nice. And then sustaining that back bend, work your legs straighter. They don't have to straighten. It kind of depends on how you feel. Good. And then we'll lift our heels really high. Keep them up. Ground your hands round your spine here. Just round your spine. Tuck your tail. And start to take little baby steps with your feet. Maybe 10, maybe 20. Tippy-toeing the whole time. So your hands are so heavy. Or your fingertips, if you have to come up to fingertips, which most of us do. Blocks are good if you want to use those. And let's keep the heels up. So the tippy-toe exercise never stops, right? Just lifting the heels really high. It's okay to bend the knees here to lift the heels a bit more. A little more weight in the fingers, last breath in, and then let your heels come down. Good. Going to roll your spine all the way up to standing. And once you're standing, lift your right knee up into your chest. Tree pose. Turn the knee out to the side, pull the foot up against your thigh. And arms wherever you want them to be. If you reach them up, let's connect the hands. And think about all sides of your standing leg. The front, quadricep lifts a little bit. The back, the hamstring. It's almost like you're trying to bend the knee. And then lateral, thigh into foot. Left hip under. Good. Let's place the hands to the hips. Point the right knee forward. And set it down. So let's start feet hips distance here. Bend the knees. Coming into chair pose, raise your arms up. Heels are heavy. Weights pulling back. Toes can spread. Nice. Now see if you can bend a little more, but lean forward and get those ribs on your thighs. Bend a little more to do that. It's kind of like we did in that down dog. And then go ahead and touch the floor first and slowly press your legs straight. And just like down dog, they may not straighten all the way. Good. Inhale, lengthen your spine. And then step the right foot to the back of your mat this time. We'll drop the right knee down before we do all that work and raise the arms up and over the head, hooking the thumbs again. Let's go opposite thumb in front and then pull on the thumbs, lean to the left. As you reach up through your right lat, down through your right serratus, right under the lat. Rolling the right chest open. Nice, and then we'll come up to center. And again, just look towards up. Doesn't have to be straight up. Just look up so it makes you more interested in influencing the back bend. A lot of times where our eyes go is where the energy flows. And one more breath in. And then release your hands down. A simple runner's lunge to start. So tuck your back toes under and lift your right knee off the ground. And then as you start to straighten your front leg, start to bend your right knee at the same time. And just kind of notice how it feels kind of like a pulley system as you bend your right knee. And then switch. We're back to runner's lunge. Bend your left knee, straighten your right one. And then right knee bends to straighten your left one. Let's do that again. Inhale, runner's lunge. And then exhale, straighten. Doesn't have to be all the way straight. Twice more. Inhale. Good. And exhale. And this time, hold runner's lunge. Bend your front knee and reach your arm straight back. And what I want you to feel is how helpful the right leg being straight is in this pose. So even if you give a little bend to the right knee, you lose so much of the extension of your spine. Now, when you reach up, bend the back knee to get there. Crescent pose. Give it a few breaths just to set it up. We'll bend the right knee a little more than you usually would. Feel the tailbone lengthening towards the floor. Reach up a little more on your inhale, and then lean forward, reach back, and straighten your right leg all the way. And a couple more. Inhale, bend the right knee to reach your arms higher. And then exhale, lean forward and straighten your back leg. And then let's reach up and stay up for a few breaths. Now on this one, you can work the back leg as straight as comfortable. You might look up. You could even lean back here. Let's take one more big inhale. And release the hands down, plank position. Step your left foot back. And again, I want you to get this down, so when you press your heels forward and back, try to continue pulling your hands back the whole time. So it feels like the hands are drawing to the toes, and the toes are drawing to the hands. They're just little movements, really tiny. But should never lift here. There it is. Good. Pause in neutral. You're still in plank. Lift your left foot just a little bit off the ground. Make your left leg really straight, but bend your right knee very subtly. It doesn't have to be a whole lot. The right knee will bend just a little. I know it's not easy. And then whip the left knee into the nose and feel the right leg all the way straight. Then bring that left knee out to the left towards your left elbow and step onto the wood floor on the outside of your mat. Again, I'm going to turn my left toes out to the left just because that's the way my body likes it. Drop the right knee down just for a couple of breaths to kind of organize, maybe come up to fingertips and back bend. But then let's tuck the back toes again and lift the right knee up. So one leg is obviously straight and the other one's obviously bent. This is where you'll walk your hands out in front of you or put your elbows on the ground. And for me, it's where my outer left foot gets really heavy and my left knee kind of moves out to the left, almost like a wide pigeon kind of feeling. And then we're going to meet in forearm plank, last forearm plank for a while. Now this is the one where I want to work on the pike, which is a crunch basically. Lift your butt really, really high. And then draw your shoulders back, lengthen your spine, lower your hips in line with your shoulders. So that's a forearm plank. And then 2 more times, lift your butt up really high, round a bit. Inhale, lower, nice and slow. And then lift up 1 more time, butt lifts really high. And then draw your chest forward, same action to the floor this time, Sphinx pose. We'll drop the hips, we'll point the toes back. Nice, and then release your head down. We'll circle the hands behind us 1 more time. Call it Salabhasana, the locust pose. This is one of our nice traditional yoga poses here. As you firm your thighs down, lift your upper body off the ground. Now, if you don't press your pubic bone down, it's easier to lift higher, but you're losing a bit of stability. So keep that bit of strength in the midsection, and then lift your legs if you haven't already. Good. We're going to try to stay up, but open your arms out to the sides. We'll cactus the arms. So bend the elbows, kind of shrug your shoulders back. I like to lift my hands higher. It opens the front upper chest more. And let's just say 1 more goodbye. Inhale and release everything down. Child's pose, hips to heels, soften your forehead down. Yeah, and with a lot of this stuff, and obviously this is a practice that leads to meditation. Sometimes we just have to tell ourselves to stay, just like we do our pets. Stay. I know it seems silly, but it works, right? Unattach yourself to all this other stuff. And if you feel like for whatever reason you're not controlling yourself anymore, just stay. Let's come up to hands and knees. We'll come back to our cat-cow. So this time, tuck your toes into your cat-cow with your knees a little bit off the ground. And Try to cat-cow your spine without the knees down. Now, obviously, if you're just getting back into practice or you're new, I'd probably suggest knees down the whole time. Any injuries? But if you keep those knees up the whole time you cat-cow, you're going to find it a little more challenging in the core. Good. Now let's pause in neutral. Step your feet back to plank position one more time. Put a little bend in your elbows. Now this time, bend the knees. I meant to do this last time. Bend the knees and pull yourself back to a bent knee down dog. That way we're right there and we don't have to set it up. Bend your knees so much you can get your ribs closer to your thighs. Really look for that back bend. Stick your butt way up in the air, at least for this one. And then work your legs a little bit straighter. Good. Now, this is what we're going to do. So bend your knees here. Look forward. Your knees are bent. Your arms are straight. Now go right to chaturanga. Elbows are going to bend as your legs straighten. You're going to land halfway, and then go all the way down to the floor. Take a light baby cobra on your inhale. And then back to downward facing dog. Bend your knees to get there. Again, with bent knees, look forward. Use the straight legs to shoot you forward to chaturanga. Bend your elbows. Land lightly on the ground. Inhale, small like cobra. And then down dog. Bend the knees to press your hips back more. One more like that. Inhale, dart forward to chaturanga. Legs straighten to find power. Lower down on that exhale. And then spread the collar, maybe a little higher on this one. Downward facing dog. Very nice. Take a few full cycles of breath. Inner thighs firming in a little bit. Yeah, we circulate with the prana, with the breath, right? But there's also different kinds of directions of energy happening. You can really feel it through your hands and feet, the downward flow. Then that upward flow, the hips sloping back. How about that inward flow? Inner thighs, forearms, and belly. Good. Let's lift the heels up. And as we inhale, bend the knees and look forward. And then walk, step, or lightly jump up to the front of your mat. Inhale, long spine, lengthen. And then fold forward on your exhale to deepen. And then bend the knees one more time to roll up to standing. Roll all the way up. And then standing on your right foot, lift your left knee up into your chest. And take your tree pose on this side. Pull your left foot up against your thigh. Raise your arms up. Yeah, so reach through the ceiling. Reach through the floor. Press through your thigh. These are the things you can't see. And let's place the hands on the hips and point the left knee straight forward. Set your foot down. Bring your feet together this time for chair pose. Bend your knees, sink your hips down, and raise your arms. So a lot of us in our chair, it takes a lot of hip strength to bend the knees more, so we don't bend them as much. That's okay, especially for today. But pull your weight back, and as you bend your knees a little bit more, start to lean forward. Slowly, you're going to bend your knees up to 90 this time. And then slowly reach for the floor. When your hands touch down, press your legs towards straight, and they don't have to go all the way. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Step to plank or float back through chaturanga and lower halfway down and press your toes back on your inhale, upward facing dog. Down dog, exhale, hips high. Two more full breaths and we'll start to flow. Lift your heels. Inhale, bend the knees, and then walk, step, or lightly jump to the front of your mat, please. Inhale, long spine. And exhale, fold forward. This time, press down and hinge and stand. Sweep your arms up and over. And then draw the hands to the heart, Anjali Mudra. Again, inhale, reach up, look up, Urdhva Hastasana. Forward fold on your exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, lengthen, Ardha halfway. Step or float back, lower Chaturanga Dandasana. And then inhale, it's an arch of your spine, but it's an opening for your heart. Down dog when you're ready. Lift your hips up and back. Nice. So if you go back to the ancient times and these sun salutations, Surya means sun, there was intention set, right, for time to practice worship. So think about that. If you want to infuse a little intention into your movements today, so it's not just mindless exercise, you can do that here. And then let's do one more together, and then on your own, lift your heels. As you inhale, bend the knees, and then walk, step, or slingshot your feet to your hands. Inhale, long spine. Exhale, fold for depth, and then sweep your arms up on the inhale. And then draw the hands together to connect. Inhale again, reach up, look up. You're on your own, about 2.5 minutes. You could go slow and practice relaxation while you go. You could go quicker if you want to go quicker. But the connection is the game we play, fast or slow, either way. Bend those knees a little bit more. There you go. Good, so we'll meet back in down dog after the round you're on, of course. Good, shift forward to plank position. Again, make your plank really strong and sturdy, so you're not just in the arms here. And then bring the right knee to your left elbow. So it's underneath, it's across. It's more of a turn of the spine. You might even feel your right hip under your left hip. Now for now, keep your hands how they are, but extend your leg out to the left, outer edge of your foot down. There's a tendency to round the spine here. See if you can lengthen out a little bit. Draw your chest forward. Nice. And then lean into your right hand, reach your left arm up, and spin your left heel down. Nice. And, if you want to lift your right foot, you can, but feel your inner thighs hug in a little bit. So you could lift it if you wanted. Good. Bring the left hand down and step your right leg into pigeon pose. Try not to get too excited about that. Just drop your right leg in pigeon. Drop your left knee just for a moment. Slide your knee back a little bit. Keep your hands where they are. And then tuck your back toes and lift your back knee up. And as far as your arms are concerned, think a little bit of cobra and up dog together. Some of you are more flexible, so you can straighten the arms. And you might even open the arms out more to the side, so the hands would be on the floor next to your leg instead of in front. And then add this little layer here. Press your right shin bone down, your foot all the way to your knee, and feel your right butt lift just a little higher. So I'd be able to slide my hand under there. Nice. Now press your hands down, three-legged dog. Open the right hip. Good. And then we'll just come right back into down dog. As you inhale, shift into plank position. Feel how the hands are under you. Recruit your core. And bring the left knee to your right elbow underneath and across. Try to hike it up a little bit higher. Good. And then extend the leg off to the right. Keep your hands down for a couple of breaths, where you can really feel a deep twist. And then go ahead, plant your left hand a little more. Raise your right arm up when you're ready. And the right heel spinning down just makes that a little more possible. And then just feel tension on the inner thighs. Last inhale. Set your right hand down. Step your left leg in pigeon. Drop your right knee down just to set it up and slide your knee back a little more. Right knee back. Then retuck your right toes and lift your right knee up. Now, in case you're worried about it, we will do some longer hip openers in a little bit. Drive your hands down and lift your chest. So for me, up dog usually requires a small bend in my elbows and sucking those elbows into my ribs. Some of you guys are a lot more open in your chest, so you can go straight arm. But do press your left shin bone down. You can feel your left hip lift just a bit. We're talking like a centimeter. Beautiful. Let's give that one more inhale. And when you're ready, three-legged down dog. Swing your left leg all the way back and open your hip. And then set your left foot down. Drop your knees to the ground so you're in the tabletop pose. Bring the hands under your shoulders if they're not. Lift your left leg straight back behind you. Reach your right arm forward into a handshake position. This is like your ultimate extension pose, right? You're lengthening your spine all the way through the extremities, right finger. The only extremity that's bent would be your right knee, right? We're going to change that. Take an inhale and then pull the elbow to your knee under your body. Exhale. It's flexion. Inhale back to extension. And then exhale back into flexion. Inhale, reach it out. And exhale, bring it in twice more on your own. Good. Now reach back with your right hand on this last one. Try catching your left foot. If it doesn't happen, just fake it. Just meaning you can still get a little back bend just by reaching back and bending the knee and leaning back a bit. Good. And then re-extend one more time. Let me talk you through the transition. Set your right hand down. Left leg's already straight. Keep it that way. Just set it down at the back of your mat, toes tucked. And then lift your right knee up to your nose. We've seen that before. Knee to nose. One leg's obviously straight. The other one's obviously bent. Now, it's kind of like a roller coaster that goes up slow. We're going to bend the left knee, and we're going to reach the right leg back straight. Three-legged dog with a bent left knee. Bend it a lot. Right leg is straight. And then whip the right knee to your nose and straighten your left leg all the way. And then do it again. Bend your left knee, right leg back. And then exhale, right knee, nose, left leg straight. Do that a few times on your own. There you go. Now come on back. There it is. Feel the power? There you go. Whip it in. Two more. Now on the last one, step your right foot between your hands. Spin your left heel flat on the ground. And hop the right hand to the inside of your foot. Raise your left arm up. So blocks are always welcome. Anytime we're in a pose like this, the block gives you, an extra 6 to 12 inches of height. Then roll your left ribs open. And then go slowly up to warrior two. Press yourself all the way up, put the weight in your feet. And it's another pose where one leg's obviously bent and the other one's obviously straight. Focus on that a little bit. With a straight back leg, you can use the front of the leg a little more. With the right knee bent, you can use the back of your right leg more. Good, now imagine you could touch the front of the room with your right hand. Start to lean as far as you can towards the front of the room. And then go the other way. Try to lean back as much as you can and try to touch the back of the room. And then go through that a few times. And feel how the hips, the legs, the lower body's basically in a fixed position. And then the next time you lean forward, pause in that leaning forward, turn your right palm up, and then sweep all that length back into reverse warrior. As you're in reverse warrior, straighten your right leg, push through your toes, get a little longer in that right waistline. And I should see the quadricep kind of ball up here on the right leg. Good. We're going to keep the legs as they are. Just come into neutral spine. Spread your arms wide. Look down at your feet. Turn your right foot in parallel to your left. Hands behind your back. Interlace if you can. And take a nice inhale. Lift your chest. Maybe lift your chin. We'll bow forward on an exhale. Remember, a softness in the knees is fine. A firmness on the inner thighs. Yeah, just relinquish control with your head for a moment. Sometimes it feels good not to have to hold that thing up all the time. Good, and let's go ahead and drop the hands down. Take an inhale to lengthen out, and an exhale to fold in and walk the hands underneath you. Yes, you could consider an inversion here if that's part of your practice. Even if you're not sure if you can do it, you're not going to run into anybody today. You could always give it a shot. A lot of the fear when it comes to inversions is worse than the actual falling out of the inversion. Nice. Now go ahead and walk your hands just a little in front of you. They might be on the wood floor, probably still on your mat, or half on, half off. And then plant your right hand down right there and reach your left arm up. Good. So you're twisting with straight legs. Go ahead and bend the right knee here. So one knee's bent. Take the left hand behind your back. It might just be on your back. That works. It might be to your right thigh. Nice. And then, yeah, give that right knee a nice bend. If your legs are really wide apart, you might need to shorten. And then use that bend of your right knee to turn a little bit more. So get the turn set up. It's kind of like our down dog, even though in down dog we don't twist, right? In the sense where we were straightening the legs. So see if you can maintain your twist and straighten the right leg. If it pulls you out of your twist, you might consider bending your right knee more in the future when you twist this way. Now let's raise the left arm up. Last goodbye. Inhale. Set your left hand down. Crawl over to your right foot for runner's lunge. We've been in this position before. You'll spin your right toes to the front of the room and spin onto your back toes. Put your left hand on the floor, maybe on a block, and raise your right arm up so you're in a twist. Now left hip's gonna try to drop down a little bit. Just kind of resiliently pull it back so that one leg is obviously straight. And the reason I even suggested the block was because I'm going to ask you to try to straighten the right leg nice and slow. Feel the midline nice and strong. Take the right hand behind your back. You can actually feel that hand press against your left hip and try to pull the hip up while you turn the chest open. And the breath is everything when you're twisting, so try not to let go of that dimension. Let's rebend the right knee slow. We're going to meet inside plank pose. You can roll onto the outer edge of your left foot. You could spin all 10 toes to the right. That would be a modification. Tree pose would be the suggested pose. You could pull the right foot all the way up against your inner left thigh. You can even hook the toe if you're familiar with that. And of course, you can drop your left knee as a different form of modification. Yeah, try to use all sides of that left leg to help you out, front to back, side to side. We're just here for another breath. Let's set the right hand down. You're back in a plank position. Take your inhale and then lower down vinyasa on your exhale. Any form of continual movement to down dog. Good, let's take a nice big inhale through the nose. Full breath out of the mouth. Good, release your knees down again. Make sure the hands are under you if you need to walk them back a little bit. Reach your right leg straight back. Float your left arm forward into the handshake position. I know you can't see your right leg. I have the benefit of it. But what you have the benefit of is you can feel your quadricep. If you can feel it tense, your right leg is going to go straight. If you can flex your right ankle, it's going to go straighter. Take an inhale, get a little longer. And then elbow to knee, bend them together. Flexion. Inhale, reach back to extension. And exhale, pull it in. Do that 3 more times. And then on that last one, go ahead and reach back with your left hand. See if the right foot's available to connect if it is. Fake it if it's not. And again, just pull the heart forward either way. And now we're rocking. Re-extend, left arm reaches out, right leg reaches back. Remember this, I'll remind you, set your left hand down first. Right leg stays straight, but set the toes down at the back of your mat. And then ground your hands to lift your left knee up to your nose. That's flexion, right? Flexion of your spine. Remember, maybe that roller coaster thing didn't really make sense. It's like a cylinder in your car under the engine. Bend your right knee as you reach your left leg back. That right knee bending is generating power. And then use the power. Whip the left knee to your nose and straighten the right leg. Do it again. And each time you bring the left knee in, you can go faster. Go slow on the way back, though. Like you're building power. And then you're realizing that power as the roller coaster goes down. Just 2 more. Good. Nice, you guys. Nice learning. On this last one, step your left foot between your hands. Spin your right heel flat down. Hop the left hand to the inside of your foot, perhaps on a block, and raise your right arm up. Side angle pose. Good. Feel the leg that's obviously straight. Try to press the right foot down a lot. So everybody in here has this pose down. Now do you have the transition down? So as you slowly rise all the way up into second warrior. Now you might feel a little lift of your left hip first, but then reach as far as you can towards the front of the room without moving your leg. Then as if somebody had your right hand, they're like, no, don't reach that way. I want you to reach this way. And then go again. They're like, no, go this way. And do that a few times. It's like tug of war, basically. Good, really nice. And then the next time you lean forward, reach forward and hold it. Turn your left palm up. And then sweep all that length up and back and keep it reversing your warrior. Straighten your left leg as you reach back. Push through your toes. Get a little bit more extension from your waist, intercostals. Nice. Now legs are set up how they need to be. Just open your arms, come into neutral. Pivot your left foot in, facing the wall. Hands behind you. Once more, interlace the fingers. Take a nice inhale, lift your chest. Bow forward on your exhale. You know, we get so caught up in the poses because they're so, it's easy to make assumptions, and we live in a society where generalizing is a method of saving time, makes things more convenient. There's so many different aspects of yoga that we don't talk about quite as much. We try to plant little seeds, like moderation is a huge one, doing nothing in excess. This time when you release your hands down, walk them out in front of you. So it's going to feel like a down dog with your feet where they are. The heels won't lift off the ground, or if they do, maybe you went too far with your arms, but go to that point where your heels almost lift up, so way out in front of your ears. And then hang your head. Some people come up to the fingertips here. Another one of those elements, practice, we call self-study or self-investigation. This is another one that has to do with kind of when we were children, constantly studying or learning, into the school system. And most of us slow that process down once we get jobs. We specialize. We might learn a lot about one thing, but not so much about everything. So that element, self-study, is really just about finding the exciting part of life again. Increasing vitality. Go ahead and walk your hands back almost onto your mat. Plant your left hand down, reach your right arm up. Feel your twist here, but then bend your left knee to twist a little more. Then take the right hand behind your back, maybe to your lumbar, to your inner thigh. Nice. And then see if straightening the left leg even does anything for you here. Takes you out of your twist. Just bend your knee again and hold it, bend. Let's raise the right arm up on the last breath here. And then set your right hand down. Crawl over to your left foot. Runner's lunge. Spin onto your right toes. Angle the left foot forward. Plant your right hand down on the block or the floor. Raise your left arm up to twist. And it's kind of similar. It's easier to twist here. As soon as you straighten your left leg, it's going to take a little bit out of it if you force it too straight. Start to straighten that left leg nice and easy. And then take the hand behind your back. Use that hand to peel the right hip up a little higher, maybe to turn a little bit deeper. Good. And then here we go. Bend your left knee, reach your left arm up. For side plank, you can roll onto the outer blade of your right foot, all 10 toes to the left. Consider your tree pose. We usually take the same variation on each side, barring injury, of course. Last full breath in. Left hand down to plank. Just take a breath in here, vinyasa or not. We'll meet in downward facing dog. As soon as you pull back to down dog, step your right foot where your right thumb tip is. Spin your left heel flat on the ground. Come up to warrior one, Virabhadrasana one. So let's start with the arms a little wider today. It's very unlike me to do that. And draw your shoulder blades down and together. Good. And then begin to look in the direction of up again. You can almost see in the peripheral vision your hands moving closer and closer. Notice that the shoulders start to creep up. If they do, you're moving your hands too close. They might touch together though. Circle the hands behind you. Take an inhale to interlace. And then we're going to bow forward on an exhale, folding the head towards the knee, maybe inside of the leg. The integrity of the pose is mostly in the breath, but also with the back leg and the hip staying level. Keeping that obviously straight leg straight, come all the way back up to warrior one. Look up this time as you inhale. And then hands to the ground, downward facing dog. As you exhale, step your left foot forward where your left thumb tip is. Spin your right heel flat. And come up to your warrior one with your arms a little wider, like a V. That way you can really draw the shoulder blades down. And then keeping the shoulder blades down, just look up high enough to see the hands and corners of your eyes and start to move the hands closer and closer without moving the shoulders. If they come all the way together, great. Doesn't mean you're good at anything. Circle the hands behind you, interlace your fingers, take a nice inhale, lift your heart. We'll bow forward when you're ready. Ground your back foot. Come all the way up to warrior one. From the front of your right hip, feel that back bend. Hands to the ground, down dog or vinyasa. If you're looking for more movement, add that layer of movement. Down, open, and back. Oh yes, it's happening. Good. Raise your heels. Inhale, bend your knees. Walk, step, or jump lightly to the front of your mat, please. Inhale, long spine. Exhale, fold forward. Chair pose, bend the knees, sink low to reach high. Lift your right knee up into your chest. Find eagle legs. Wrap your right leg over your left, maybe the ankle behind the left calf. Wrap your right arm under your left arm, eagle arms. In my opinion, I feel like the legs are a little more important than the arms here. So if the arms don't happen for you, don't worry about it as much. But feel the inner thighs hug in. The right hip feels like it's drawing back. See if you can lean forward from this position. If you have that balance. Belly draws in, creating a bit of space here. Nice. And then as you ground the standing foot, start to come all the way up with the arms up. Right knee to your chest. And then straighten your right leg best that you can, straight forward. Same idea with your arms. Feel them go higher, maybe in. Chair pose. Bend your knees, sink down. Good. And then lift your left knee towards your chest for a breath. And then stand up with your knee and then cross your left leg over your right leg. Second tuck if you can. So if you're going eagle arms, left arm under right, opposite arm under. So this is one of those midline poses where you get basically curling into a tiny little ball of energy. See if you can take up the least amount of surface area you've taken up today. It's like you could squeeze into a little suitcase here. Nice. And then no rush at all, but we'll come all the way up with the arms high, the left knee to the chest, and straighten if you like, especially if you don't like. Good. Chair pose. Take one inhale. Last flow today. Surya B, forward fold on your exhale. We'll add humble warrior. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Through vinyasa. You can always go through cat-cow as your vinyasa if you prefer. Otherwise, chaturanga to upward facing. Soon as you touch down dog, step your right foot forward. Spin your left heel flat and come up to first warrior. Inhale. Then on your exhale, hands behind you, interlace. We did earlier inhale, we walked through it. You'll bow forward on an exhale. You'll come back up to the top on your inhale, and then hands to the floor, either right to chaturanga or right to down dog. You have an extra breath if you go straight to down dog. Step your left foot forward, spin your right heel down. Inhale, reach up, first warrior. Hands behind you, link the poses together. Inhale, lift your heart. Then when you're ready, bow forward. On an inhale, you want to rise to the top. Maybe watch your palms kiss, hands to the floor, down dog, or lower slow if you wish. Lift your heel. Inhale, bend your knees. Walk, step, or jump to the front of your mat, please. Inhale, long spine. Exhale, fold in, chair pose twice. Bend the knees, sink down, reach high. Stand up, hands to your heart. So 2 more rounds, back to chair pose. Inhale, so there's 2 chairs at the top. Forward fold, let your head drop. Lengthen, inhale like you're dancing, and then step or jump back and lower without collapsing. Inhales for the arch of the spine. Down dog to press back and step forward with your right foot lunge. Warrior 1 on your inhale. Hands behind you. So finish this on your own. Do the left side after your right side. Optional vinyasas, of course. And then 1 more round after your left side. That means you will revisit chair pose, front of your mat, 1 more time. And then right and left side after that. Yes. So after you finish your left side, we're going to meet at the front of the mat in Parahastasana, which is where you separate your feet wide apart. You try to stand on your hands. It's a handstand, just not the kind you see on Instagram. By the way, you should follow me at Byron Yoga. Nice. And just give your wrists the opportunity to join this little experience. Good. We're coming down the home stretch here of standing posture. Just a few more minutes on the feet. Let's release the hands out from underneath the feet. Heel toe your feet together until they meet. Come into chair pose, bend the knees, sink down, raise your arms. And then draw the hands to your sternum and twist to the right. Hook your left elbow outside of your right thigh. Obviously, both knees are bent. We're about to change that. Shift the weight into your right foot. Pressing down through your right foot. Try to lift your left foot off the ground, heel to butt. And then try to straighten your left leg. Yeah. Drop stepping your left toes to the back of your mat. Good. A few breaths here. So turn the spine. How's your breath? How's your breathing? Good. Now facing the direction you're looking, come all the way up and spread your arms nice and wide. And then once you come up, lean back, take your left arm up. Maybe you can hold your left leg with your right hand if you're lucky. Very nice. And then second warrior, it might take a little adjusting, but back heel spins flat, left arm back, right arm forward. Maybe walk your right foot to the left. And then turn your right palm up, reverse triangle again, sweep it up and back, straightening your right leg. Triangle pose, lean forward, reach as far as you can past your toes, and then float your right hand down your right leg or maybe to the block. Let's go left hand behind the back. So you're in this half wrap, half bind. And turn the ribs, turn the hips. Okay, so the right hip rolls under a little bit. Now, if you would rather full bind here, that's fine. It's hard to do with the straight right leg, but I know some of you can do that. I'm not jealous at all. Nice. Now, we all have pretty wide stance today. Look down in front of your toes. Bend your right knee. Reach for the floor with your right hand, and just try to lift your left leg up without stepping it in. It takes a lot of hip strength on your right leg to get that to happen. Once you find your half moon, is it available to bend your left knee, reach back and catch the foot? At least bend it and see. Even if it is, you don't have to grab it. Guiding your right hip back. Maybe floating the right hand or getting lighter. Good. Now we want to make sure to put a little bend in the right knee first. Put your hands down next. Square your hips, standing splits, or handstand prep. Standing splits is simple. You just hang your head. You might walk your hands closer to your toes. Handstand, you can walk your hands forward, plant your palms, unless you can do a handstand on your fingertips. And then lift your right heel, hopping a few times. And wherever you are, last inhale or hop. Set your left foot next to your right. Chair pose, last standing side. Sink your hips down, raise your arms. Draw the hands again to your sternum. Twist to the left this time and hook your right arm outside of your left knee, left thigh. Exactly. And right away, that right knee likes to move forward. Balancing from your hips, shift the weight into your left foot and lift your right heel up to your butt. And nobody's good at this the first time, by the way. Can you extend the right leg straight? It's kind of like a twisting warrior 3 bent knee front leg. And whenever you feel like you've exhausted that, drop step your right toes to the back of your mat. As you draw your left hip back in your sternum forward, turn a little bit on your exhales. Good. Now, looking in the direction of the green wall, come up facing the green wall, arms wide open. Lean back, right arm reaches up, left hand tries to hold your back leg if it's available. Just gives you a little support so you can get the front of that right waist a little bit more. And then we'll meet in warrior 2. Left arm forward, right arm swings back, back heel down. Maybe walk your left foot a little to the right. Turn your left palm up, reverse triangle, straighten your left leg as you reach up and back. And then Trikonasana, we'll start with the right arm up, leaning forward far as you can. And then floating your left hand down, either to the leg or the block, maybe the floor. And then for today, let's half wrap that right hand behind the back, which is nice if you have a long arm or just an open chest. You can use that hand to turn the hip open, right? And you can also use it to roll your right chest open. At the same time, feeling almost like an indentation of your rib cage pulling in. Last standing pose, look down in front of your toes, bend your left knee, crawl the left hand forward a foot or so, and lift your right leg off the ground. And then go for the position that puts a little resistance in your path. Now, if you're new, that's anything. If you've been practicing a while, it could just be looking in the direction of up. It's not for me to decide. Very nice. Let's release the hands down, standing splits or handstand prep. You know, sometimes we intentionally take the scenic route because it's easier, it's prettier. But let's go through the swamp occasionally, intentionally. Last inhale here. Set your right foot next to your left. Step back to downward facing dog. You can add one more vinyasa here if you want. And then we'll get a nice juicy hold of pigeon pose. Step your right leg forward, drop your left knee down. Earlier it was kind of tease. Now you can slide the left knee back a little bit. Maybe come down to your elbows. This is just, of course, you could stay lifted if you prefer that. You can even soften the breath a little bit at this point. When we talk about hip opening, not just talking about external rotation, which is what you're in, but just talking about, it's almost like open mind, open hip, right? When you have an open mind, you're not closed off to information, which is the same thing physically with our body. Open mind and open hip goes hand in hand here. And so go ahead and take your hands and walk them kind of towards you and press yourself up. We're going to lean a little to the right. Take that left leg and swing it around to the front of your mat. Then extend your left leg straight forward and put your right foot in tree pose. It's kind of like we did standing earlier. Reach your right arm up, turn a little to the left, and try to reach for your left foot with your right hand. You guys are welcome to grab a, towel or a strap, or just don't catch your foot. And as you release your left foot, bend your left knee and slide the feet together. Soles of your feet touch. You can hold the feet with your hands. Outer edges of your feet press in as you lift tall. And then leaning forward if that's optional. It's optional to lean forward. If you struggle here, you could sit on a block. Very nice, you guys. Go ahead and release the feet. Kind of lean to your left a little bit. And then swing the right leg to the back of your mat. So you're in pigeon on the other side. Different way to get into it. Same set up though once we get there. So the center of the right knee is down, hips are squared. You might come onto your elbows. Sometimes when I get into these yin postures, these softer poses, I will practice kumbhaka, which is retention of the breath, especially retention at the bottom of your exhale. So just a small suspension of air. And then kind of mosey back up to your hands when you're ready. Swing that right leg around to the front of your mat. Maybe we need to adjust so you feel centered on the sits bones here. Right leg straight, left foot inner right thigh. Left arm up. As you turn a little to the right, try to catch your foot. And it makes sense to catch it with both hands, you can. There is no fear of missing out, no FOMO in here. Just in here, it's all JOMO, joy of missing out. We're happy to be in here. It's so nice. And then let's release the foot. Bring the feet together again for a moment. This time put your hands behind you. Rotate your fingers forward. And then let the knees close together. Open the feet hips distance apart. Lean into your hands and lift your butt up. It's kind of like a bridge pose. We call it upward facing table. So lift your butt really high as it'll go. Press your hands down, kind of like you're turning the hands open, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. This is a pose we just need a little more of in our lives, most of us. We'll do it one more time. Lower your hips. Rotate your fingers out to the sides. You'll get a deeper forearm stretch if you rotate them to the back of the room. May not be possible, though. And then either upward-facing table or upward-facing plank. You could reach your legs straight forward, feet together, toes point down. If your knees are bent, you can shift the weight into your fingers and heels of your hand, kind of rocking back and forth a little bit. Lower your butt down, legs straight out. Reach up on your inhale, and then fold over your legs on your exhale. You're going to soften your head here. Just let it hang. You're not trying to go anywhere. Already exactly where you are meant to be. Now for our transition on the way to our back, press your feet down, reach forward, tuck your chin to your throat, and just try to go slow. Use your core strength to lower as slowly, kind of through a rounded spine, all the way down to the floor. And then if you feel the need to reach your legs up in the air and take a shoulder stand here, you're welcome to. Give yourself about a minute to set up for Shavasana. Sometimes we're conditioned to get that last little twist in. We've done 3 today. We approach that final resting pose, the next half minute or so. Time to explore the inner space. Similar to outer space. Vast, infinite. Instead of the universe, it's your inner verse. And it's easier to access when fully relaxed. So let's take one last full breath in through the nose, holding this one in for 3. 2, maybe sip in a little more if you can. Let it go. And then just indulge in relaxation and give yourself permission to do absolutely nothing, even if it's just for a few moments. And then when you're ready to move around, you can wiggle the fingers and the toes. If you need a few minutes on your back, feel free to stay there. If you've chosen to move, send a nice big stretch of your arms over your head and your legs forward. And a gentle bend of the knees into the chest. You can roll over to your right side in the fetal position. A familiar place. And then if you're on your side, let's just press up into one last final seated position. Check in, notice how we feel as this practice is designed to basically open the body and still the mind so that you can sit, contemplate on how to treat others, how to treat yourself. If you have time, I recommend a longer sit, but for now, just bring the hands together. Notice how you feel. And then let's take this feeling and share the practice. The hands on the forehead. Let's take a full breath in through the nose. Bow the mind to the heart and let it go. The divine in me salutes the divine in all of you. Namaste.